in slight defense of Michelle. So I want to talk a little bit today about Michelle Goes Live, just a hair, because everybody's losing their minds over something she said last night in Ski Mask Andy's stream. And I really don't want to talk about Ski Mask Andy and them threatening Charlotte because that's a whole different ball of wax. But I did get such a laugh over something, and I have to defend Michelle. She wasn't 100% wrong on this. If you don't know who I am, I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I used to write for Pathos, a daily column called No Longer Quivering about the evangelical quiverful movement. These are just my opinions. Michelle, please don't share my personal Facebook page as a hate page any longer and ask people to flag me because that's got to be the most low energy thing I've ever seen. So yesterday, Michelle was talking to Ski, okay, and she was talking about her son being in prison. And then it came out her son is in the Orleans Parish prison. Okay, so he hasn't been sent up to Angola or any of the other major penitentiaries in Louisiana. So apparently he's probably waiting for either space in another institution, or he has a short sentence, or he's initially arrested and has not gone to trial yet. Something like that will end you up in the Orleans Parish prison. Now, she started making these claims about it being OPP. Yeah, you know me. Well, here's the thing, and here's the thing I want to correct. And it's not really on Michelle. Do you know what the Orleans Parish Prison is called in New Orleans? Do you know how native Louisianians refer to that joint? OPP. We don't say OPP and start singing the song about other people's private parts. We just say OPP. It's kind of our shorthand. Like in New York, if you were going to the Guggenheim, you might say, I'm going to the Goog. Or if you're going to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, you might say the Met. That's just one of those dumb little acronyms that we use down there is OPP for Orleans Parish Prison. Orleans Parish Prison has an interesting history too. It goes way back. I mean, way, way back. And there's been all kinds of different itinerary, yep, different buildings because I can't speak this morning and in different places. The most notorious thing that happened to it is during Katrina, the tower they had that they were housing the majority of these guys in, that they were calling OPP, flooded because of Katrina, of course. And the guards abandoned the place. They locked the prisoners in without food, without water, without cooling, without any relief, and just left them there for days on end. And then when they started evacuating them after coming back and seeing who was alive and who was dead, they put them on the Interstate 10, I-10 overpass. So they had these guys out there in the heat. And it may have been September and fall in Louisiana, but let me tell you something. Fall in Louisiana is just another season of getting your butt boiled. And those poor guys were getting it. It has always had a reputation, well, not always, but maybe back to maybe the 1960s, it has had the reputation of being one of the worst prisons in the United States. Right now, it's considered one of the worst and one of the most violent in the entire country. So, Michelle, you're right about that. I'm sorry your son is there. I hope that he gets either transferred to a better facility or he ends up leaving and not in the body bag, but whole and healthy and everything else. Um, yeah, and even though I do pick at Michelle sometimes and sometimes ski about stuff, let me tell you, I don't wish her any harm. I just want her to fly right and be whole and healthy. And that's really my wish for everyone I've ever covered, even though I may be ranting about them, like when I've ranted about Doug Wilson and his crazy romance novel, the pastor that wrote the romance novel, and wrote some weird sci-fi and things. Even those people, oh my goodness. There's a magpie jay on the tree right in front of me. Oh my goodness. These birds distract me so much when I'm streaming. I wish the best for them. I wish happiness, health, and everything else. And you guys that are covering Michelle, it's not Orleans prison, it's Orleans Parish Prison. Orleans. And those of you that are covering it and call it New Orleans, it's Nolans to us locals. So get with the program. I know I mispronounce a lot of stuff, and I admit it and try to change. But I'm from South Louisiana where we mangle stuff all the time. You know, her last name I've even mangled because I have a friend with the same last name that lives in Bayou Manchac that pronounces it completely differently than her. So I came into this pronouncing her last name like my friend pronounces his, not like that. You know, maybe everybody should stop picking on Michelle and just let Michelle do her own thing. You know, one of the main reasons I picked at Michelle is because of the money, and I picked at a lot of others. I said yesterday, and earlier, I'm not a fan of people that use the internet in order to try to get funds from other people. Besides something like a GoFundMe where someone has cancer and they can't afford their treatment, that I don't have a problem with. I do have a problem with people doing this sort of thing. And why is that? Because I experienced it firsthand when I was writing for NLQ with people trying to work me for money and fundraisers, and it just became overwhelming. And that was the point I turned against anybody getting money to support themselves online by begging for it. If you want to make your channel huge, there are people who can help you with that on YouTube. That's all they do. They can help you with that. There are ways to do it. For me, it's too much like work, or I would do it, and I'm not going to do that anyway. But I'm just because I don't need the money. It's going to be real frank with you. I don't. Um, Anything I make from YouTube goes straight to buy art supplies. That's it. That's it. That's it. I get a whole lot of oil paint and quilting fabric and various things with the money, and that's it. That's it. And that's why with certain topics, I just turn off the monetization because I have something to say that I know that YouTube is going to smack me on the wrist for saying. So Michelle's not entirely incorrect. Everybody calls that prison OPP. It's just the song. Are you down with OPP? Has nothing to do with the prison at all. So she is wrong about that. But it is kind of a funny thing to think about. I love the fact that she went there with it because it makes me laugh. And I dearly love to laugh. And that's one reason that I have watched some of the stuff she's done is because she makes me laugh. And I like to laugh. And so, brightest blessings, Michelle. I hope you regain wholeness and health. And the rest of you, please Google before you start calling things in South Louisiana by their names for pronunciations. Yeah, and I'll try to remember to do the same when I start talking shit. I like to spell. I can spell out a lot of things. Pronounce them is a whole different ball game. A whole different ball game. Okay, I'll see you guys later.